everybody, welcome to Cougar Talk with Brigham and Jax. I am Brigham and this is Jax. Hi Jax, how you doing? Alright, Jax and I are both a little sad today as we talk about BYU's game this past weekend. BYU played Coastal Carolina, who ended up beating BYU, so that was a real bummer. Like I said in last week's video, the BYU game, it wasn't official yet, so on Wednesday, rumors and reports started swirling that BYU and Coastal Carolina were going to play because Coastal Carolina was supposed to play Liberty, but Liberty was having some COVID issues within their program. And the different protocols and rules that were going on, people were saying that Liberty wasn't going to be able to play. So BYU, who's been looking for games all season, and like I talked about in a previous video, they're an independent, so they can kind of do what they want in terms of scheduling. So I guess, in the background, when they found out that Liberty couldn't play, BYU and Coastal Carolina made it happen. So honestly, a crazy story. On Wednesday night, before BYU even knew that they were going to be playing Coastal Carolina, it was more of a rumor, but they obviously felt somewhat confident about it. The drive to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is where the game was played in that area, it's about a 33-hour drive, and BYU has to send their equipment truck out to all the trips wherever they're playing across the country. So that can be problematic because that's over a day, almost 2 days to get there. So BYU sent their equipment truck out at 9 p.m. on Wednesday night, and Tom Holmoe, the athletic director, said later on that if the game would have gotten canceled, they would have called the truck back, but they didn't want to risk not being there for the game. But luckily, the game did happen, and they got there in time, so that was pretty amazing. So it's just kind of cool how all the news came about, the rumors were swirling, and everything happened, and then the game came together with the help of ESPN and BYU and Coastal Carolina making it happen. But like I said, kind of a bummer. BYU lost 22-17. Coastal Carolina ended up winning really on the last play of the game. BYU threw the ball from about the 15-yard line. Dax Milne caught it and was stopped at the 1-yard line right before the end zone, and they lost. So it was a real nail-biter and a real heartbreaker. So BYU is now 9-1, and like I said, they lost 22-17. In terms of like the total offense and total defense, for BYU, they had 405 total offensive yards. 240 of those were passing and 165 of those were rushing. Defensively, they stopped Coastal Carolina to 366 yards, only 85 passing yards, but Coastal Carolina really killed us in the run game with 281 rushing yards. So that really killed us. My joke is that the player of the game was Coastal Carolina, but really, I'd have to say Tyler Algier was honestly the lone bright spot for BYU. He ran really well the whole game and had a pretty good game. But honestly, there really wasn't that much to highlight from BYU's play. They played pretty poor compared to everything else that has happened this season, the way that they've played and done. They didn't look like themselves, and a lot of people will say that the refs were bad, which they were, but I think BYU really had their chances, and they just didn't execute and didn't do what they needed to do. So on the season, in terms of our scoring offense, we're still averaging 44.5 points per game. We're only allowing 14.7 points per game, so a little over 2 touchdowns. And offensively, in terms of yards per game, we're averaging about 522.7. And defensively, we're allowing 300.6 yards per game. So all of those have changed a little bit, and I wasn't able to figure out where they are in terms of the top 10 in all these categories, so I left it blank. I believe they're still in the top 10 in a couple. I think they are in scoring offense, but I wasn't able to figure that out this week. But still pretty good statistically. They didn't have the greatest game on Saturday, but like in terms of their statistics, they're still pretty good. And then where all really matters, in the AP ranking, they were 8th and they bumped back to 14th. But like I've talked about before, the AP ranking doesn't really matter at this point in the season. The one that matters is the college football playoff ranking. They were 13th and they moved back to 18th. So kind of funny on that. going into the game this weekend, we were 13th in the college football playoff ranking, and Coastal Carolina was 18th. We literally just swapped places, so kind of funny there. But overall, it was tough. It was hard to watch. It's hard to see the Cougars lose, but I'm proud of them for taking the game. I think that it was a good opportunity, and they did what they could to put themselves in a good position. They just couldn't finish. But this weekend, they'll be playing San Diego State. As of right now, that'll be the last game of the season, but they could add another game on December 19th, so I'll keep you posted on that. But hopefully they beat San Diego State this weekend, and obviously next week we'll talk about that. But yeah, thank you for joining Cougar Talk with Brigham and Jax. Again, I am Brigham, and this is Jax.